to call the meeting of Ware Parks and Rec Commission to order, and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Any amendments to the agenda before we open to public comment? Right?
I'm good.
If not, public comment?
My name's Randy Dixon. You asked me to be here?
Sorry, you're gonna have to go to the microphone. Sorry. Oh,
On.
before you do, sorry, can we just go around the table for the minute taker and say our names?
David Lundin, Vice Chair.
Shelby O'Donnell.
Denise Purington, Chair.
Matt Beeler, Secretary.
Kyle Cleveland.
James Drury, ex officio.
Campbell.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
My name's Randy Dixon. I'm here to investigate being a member of this august board, and you asked me to come and
Yep.
be here and observe your goings-on, so I am doing that.
Yeah, so, what we usually do, Randy, and thank you, Randy had reached out to me, I invited him to join us. So we usually just open it up to general questions that anyone may have, but I'll start with maybe just telling the commission members sort of why you're interested in Parks and Rec.
Well, I'm retired. I still have energy and ideas. I've lived in town for almost 35 years. I'm involved with the Ware Athletic Club to some degree. I was soccer director for a while. I coached Little League for a while, coached soccer. I still referee soccer games on the various fields that are in town. I put on clinics for young people who want to be referees. I put on clinics for old people who want to be soccer coaches. In a previous life, I was on the Recreation Commission in the town of Amherst, Massachusetts, many, many years ago. Being a college town, it was not called the Recreation Commission. It was called Leisure Services and Supplemental Education. So that was so I have some experience in that. Lately, I've been working on Poor Farm Road on some of the trails out there, bringing those back with some friends, and I maintain the trails the snowshoe trails at Pat's Peak, so I do all that. My son's a skateboarder, or was.
Oh, nice.
Both kids learned to swim at Chase Park and
Cool.
things like that.
Great, well, it sounds like you definitely have
Awesome.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any questions of me?
Anybody? Questions? I usually like to just have a quick rundown, make sure, which you probably already do, but the commitment. So we meet once a month, the third Tuesdays of the month. Right now, we are without a director, and we are going to be talking about this tonight, how each one of us is going to have to pick up some of the responsibilities of the director until we hire a director, if we can. I hope we can. We haven't had any applicants yet, but we'll see what happens. And then there's a certain level of involvement each of us have when we have events, senior barbecue, going to, we all go to try to help and cook and engage, the decorating of the gazebo. So there's certain events that we do, expectations of the commission members to be there and to be part of that. So I always like to just run that down to make sure there is, an understanding that there are some commitments that each member is going to have to commit to.
Sure. My memory may not be right, but I thought on the website you met the second Tuesday.
We used to.
Okay, so the website says, think it still
It
says the
probably
second.
does. I think we've tried to get it changed, and I'll continue to do that. We had a conflict where a couple meetings a month, we weren't able to get this room. It was easier to change it. Otherwise, we don't have a minute taker. The minute taker is online and she listens.
Okay.
If we're not in a recorded room, so we moved it to the third Tuesday.
Yeah.
I hope that's not a problem.
No, I was just
Yeah.
saying that there's an inconsistency
And
there.
the application I'm going to give you to fill out,
I have already filled that.
oh, you did, okay. I think it says the second Tuesday. It hasn't been changed yet.
Okay,
either.
maybe that's where I read it.
Naomi needs to change that form.
Okay.
And if you have that and you want to, if you filled it out, if you want to give it to me, I can drop it off to her.
Okay.
I will need to sign it, and I think she may need to sign it at the board.
And you can cross out second and put third and initial it.
Yeah.
That's harder than you
Um,
think.
So while we're, James,
Oh,
as far as the board being able to do appointments, is that something that they're going to be able to do before our next meeting? Or do you have a sense of whether or not we'd be able to get that fit in?
I think the answer is yes. We should be able to get that in. We just need to make sure we get that scheduled. We do have a
So I'll
couple,
talk to Naomi tomorrow.
we do have some things coming up,
Yep.
but if it's just having companies come,
Yeah.
appointed, sworn in, it doesn't take very long. It should be
Because
fine.
we have, Kyle's gotta go also, Matt's gotta go. Yeah, so, because they all had one-year appointments.
Ah,
Dave and I are the only ones, and, so,
We had to do 1 year to try and get everybody on that
Yep.
too.
so the way
Yeah.
we've got the forms filled out now, it will get everybody on a 3-year cycle. And the reason I ask is because I would like to have, say tonight that our April meeting will be our annual meeting per our bylaws, at which time we will vote for new positions on the commission.
okay.
If we can get the new people on by then, in all fairness to them, and I think we talked about this last month, we wouldn't declare our annual meeting until we knew all the members were in place and had the opportunity to take on a position.
I'll double check the schedule. I don't think it should be a problem.
Okay.
but
So
we'll
if the,
check.
if the commission is okay with it, what I'll do is reach out to Naomi tomorrow, see if we can get it on the agenda, and if so, if we can get them on before our April meeting, we'll set the April meeting as our annual meeting. For some reason, if we can't, then we'll have to set our May meeting as our annual meeting. Are we okay with that, based on those conditions?
Do they have to be present to be appointed, or can the board appoint them, sign the forms, and then they can come to the town clerk to be sworn in? Because I don't know if that might help condense the time.
I know that in the past,
Yeah.
they've liked to ask some questions.
Yeah, generally, we like to
Okay.
talk to everybody,
Okay.
so.
I know when Dave and I went, they had a series of questions they asked us.
And we've been reviewing that process too,
Yeah.
so.
Could we just squeeze them into public comment?
Yeah. So
Probably
that-
not,
That
but
would
it
be the
shouldn't be-
next
shouldn't
step
be too
is
hard to get
that
them on the schedule.
we would advance the two folks who have applied. It would go before the board. They would ask you a few questions. They would vote to approve you and swear you in that night. And then you would officially be members for our April meeting, is how it would work.
when is the board meeting?
So the Board of Selectmen meets every Monday night. So I've got to go to Naomi and ask her between now and then what Monday night. And I would have to make sure I emailed the two of you to let you know, or she would, what night and what time you needed to be there. Because you don't have to stay for the whole meeting.
Right. Okay.
Is Mondays a problem? No.
I'm retired. I have
Okay.
no idea what day it is most of the time.
There.
Do you want this now?
Yeah. Do you have any other questions for us? No. And you're welcome. We encourage you to stay.
Okay.
As we have said to others, while you're sitting there and we're talking, if you have a thought or suggestion, just wave. We'd love to have both of you, again, your input while we're here talking. Obviously, you can't vote, but if you're going to become new members, we'd like to have your input.
Okay. Well, I do have a question.
Sure.
If you would come to the point.
Sorry. It's part of it's for the minute taker and part of it's
No, I
because it's
understand.
recorded.
How many people do you have on the board when it's full, and how many people are you?
So we have 7 board members. We have 6 voting board members, with the ex officio being the 7th. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the director, when we have a director, is also a member. That makes an 8th, but they are a non-voting member. So we have 7 members, 1 being the ex officio. We're all voting members. That way, we try to avoid the ties.
Yeah, yeah.
And we do have alternative positions. So if we had 3 more people come in, we would ask them to be alternates on the commission, so that if somebody wasn't able to make it.
Okay, but you've got 7, I'm confused,
So
because
Pam
there's
is-
7 people here
so
now.
Pam is, this is her last meeting.
Oh, okay.
And then,
And since last month's meeting, some things in my life have changed, and I need to step down because there's a good chance that at the end of May, I will no longer be living in town, so,
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that.
thank you,
We're gonna miss
Yeah.
thank you.
so we will have 2 openings.
Okay, the
at
math
least.
works then, yes, okay.
Yeah, we created 7 alternate positions that would be involved in conversation, just not voting unless they were called up to fill in.
Thank you.
And there's always space for other volunteers to be part of it,
Of
just not
course.
necessarily on the voting board.
Of course, yeah.
So before I move on, I'm going to make sure that I put this so I don't lose it with all the other papers. So tomorrow, I will be turning in to Naomi your application. She already has yours, and then Kyle's, Matt's, and I think that's it. So that they can all be ready to go before the board, and I'll see if we can get it scheduled.
I'm going to guess it's going to be for the 14th. I know that's just before the
okay.
the Tuesday,
As
but
long as that's fine. And then once you get approved, we'll get you an email address. We do have town email boxes, and that's our way of communicating amongst each other, sharing agendas, those types of things. So we would do that. All right. Moving on. In front of you, you should have the minutes to the last meeting, the February meeting, that we need to review and approve. So if you guys need a few minutes, I don't know if anybody looked at them online. I know I did, but
I had one, it was just a spelling correction.
yeah, so if you could state what that is so the minute taker can hear it.
Okay, so, line 68, sentences, the goal is to have 2 members, it says teams expire each year. It should read terms. 2 members' terms expire each year. Other than that, I did not see anything.
I'll give you guys a few minutes. I know that some of you might be seeing them for the first time.
That actually doesn't have to go for his review. It's on line 65, it says you're appointed. You don't have to be reappointed this year, you're 26.
He actually does, I think when we went back through the paperwork,
So then he'd be appointed through appointed to 26.
I
And
thought it was
then-
222.
I think the way think the way
Yeah,
this,
so then Shelley, sorry, not to keep you saying goodbye to you already, but the two of the people would be 26, and then Kyle's
Correct.
reappointed for 3 years.
correct, so the way this is reading, that Kyle's reappointment will give him another 3 years.
Right. And then one of the.
Matt
new-
and one of the
new-
new people,
Well, Matt would be still would go to 26.
That's not correct, because I only had a year, Shelby and I were only given 1 year from our appointment
Okay.
to cycle it. I know, it doesn't,
We just need to make sure that we just say.
you're
hey,
going to be appointed for the year of 2025
Yep.
and 2026.
okay.
You're not gonna get appointed for a 3-year cycle. You've already done 1
Yep.
year. So Kyle is reappointed in 2025 for 3 years.
So he will go through.
You
okay.
will be reappointed to year 2026.
Gotcha, okay.
And then we're appointed to 2027. So we're gonna
okay.
have 2,
Yep,
2, and 2.
Okay.
And that's what our goal was.
okay.
All right.
All
And
right,
I'll
my
make
alignment
sure
was
that
off.
Naomi has that on the forms correctly. But this, again, when we met with the Board of Selectmen in the initial, year ago or so, when we were working on the bylaws,
Yep.
they asked that everybody get committed to a 1-year term until we got the bylaws approved. And that we got the voting numbers clarified, the role of the director, voting, non-voting, clarified. So that's what we did. Now we're going forward to get everybody lined up, so we're all on a 3-year term.
All right, so just to double check then, line 65, should that say the appointments end in 25, so that he does get reappointed? Or is he still going to be finishing up this term?
Technically, it ends in 25
Okay,
because he was appointed last year.
okay,
But he will not be reappointed for 3 years. He'll be reappointed until 2026. 2026, he'll be reappointed for 3 years, as will one of the 2 new folks. Pam, your term was up anyways, like Kyle's, so one of the new folks will get appointed for 3 years. And then we'll have everybody, so I know,
Okay.
Matt, you'll go back for reappointment again, but it's just,
So line 65 should read 2025.
yes.
Matt and
That means
Shelby's
66
appointments
as well?
end in 2025.
Yes. But I think for the clarification of the minutes, and when we were talking about this, that we wanted to clarify that Matt and Shelby's positions would not be 3-year reappointments. They would be reappointments through 2026, and then they would get reappointed.
no, that's fine, I just
Yeah.
don't, I just want to make sure what we're saying on line 65.
I think I'd like to, so that's what I'm trying to repeat, is that Matt and Shelby's appointment ends in 2025.
Yes,
They will go forth for a reappointment to 2026, and then be reappointed at that time for a 3-year term.
Well, I have either that or we move Matt and do Matt and Kyle, because they've both done 1 year now. They put, the two new people will be a 1-year appointment, and those 2 would be set to go for 3 years. So Matt and Kyle would go for 3 years, would be reappointed, and the 2 new people would be 1-year appointments. And then after that, they would go to a 3-year appointment. That would make
That's
more
fine.
logical sense. So
That's
the
fine.
first
You
year
okay with
in,
that?
just how it cycles through.
But it's not what we said in
It's
the
not what we
last
said in the
meeting,
minutes.
so if
Yeah.
we're going over
Right.
minutes, we need to be
Right.
clear how we're changing the minutes.
So we're gonna-
And then the other is a separate discussion.
We'll come back to what you just said and have it reflected in
Yes.
the minutes.
all
All
right,
right.
so just as long as we're front, 65 is supposed to read that
Correct.
that ends
Correct.
in 25.
2020.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. Any other corrections?
No.
Kyle, anything? Or
I guess
Pam?
along the same lines.
All right, so I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes with the 2 corrections that were just made, correcting line 65 and line 68. Yeah, whoever makes the motion, if you would just state what the corrections are.
I will make a motion to accept the February 18 minutes with the identified correction on line 65 stating end in 2025, and the correction for line 68, replacing the word teams with terms.
I'll second the motion. Or I, Kyle Cleveland, will second the motion.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Abstain? The ayes have it, 7, nothing.
Copy.
Okay, minutes approved. All right, while we're on the topic, to Dave's point, as I bring the applicants forward to Naomi, are we good with, if we say that Matt and Kyle will go forward for a 3-year reappointment? And our 2 new applicants will go forward for 1 year, and in 1 year, you'll be reappointed for a 3-year. And that gets us all on a 3-year cycle. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, that we always have 2 people rolling off at the same time.
Or at least coming up for appointment.
Yeah. So, does that make sense? Okay.
Okay, so,
If everybody's good with that, I don't think we need a motion for that, do we? No.
no, it's just business.
Okay. All right, so just as a reminder, we talked about it in, non-public, but for public session, we will be meeting on March 25th and April 1st, 6 to 8 p.m. to interview candidates for Chase Park employment this summer. So we will be interviewing 12 candidates to fill what we believe will be 7 positions. We'll be interviewing 6 candidates one night and 6 the next night to prepare, to make a decision to have the new the new hires be ready to go before the Board of Selectmen on April 14th. So just as a reminder, and 6 to 8 p.m., and we'll be using the room upstairs, the conference room upstairs. Any questions on that?
And those will be a closed private session.
That's correct. It will not be recorded meeting.
Or closed non-public session, sorry.
All right, just update on the director's position. No applicants as of yet. And the warrant article to increase the stipend failed. So if we do get applicants, they will be paid under the current $5,000 stipend. So if anybody knows anybody, or if anybody's listening to this meeting and has an interest in the director position, you can apply online. It is on the main webpage, the town website. Bylaws update, I think, Matt, you made the corrections and they're in front of us.
Yes, I have the corrections made. I made a revision list at the bottom of the document. The only thing I was not able to add was the signature places for approval and the town clerk approval. I wasn't able to find a document to rip those off of,
Oh,
so,
I'll send you something.
okay.
It's not hard, it's just,
Yeah, just,
Selectmen.
yeah, I couldn't find an example that made sense, so, as soon as we get that, I can slap it in, and then I can present it, if you want me to give that to you, or I can just bring it in, however you want to do that.
I think you've already looked at it, right? You
Yes.
made the changes that you guys recommended, so I would think
Yeah.
you could just take it and
Yeah,
get the approval and have Naomi post it.
Okay.
Yep, I can do that.
Let's see why. All right. So we're not gonna vote, we already voted to move that forward with those changes. I jumped ahead on number 9, so we already did that. So budget review, in front of you, you have a copy of the budget. I actually think I made both the detail for the month and the,
Where are we having trash removed from that we had $165 trash bill?
so, that was a bill, if you remember, we had to have an extra pickup at Bolton because it was overflowing at the end of the year.
Okay,
And I did talk with Beth about that. I had Beth go back and talk with the company to make sure we didn't double pay
okay.
in all of that. And so Beth felt that all the payments were in order and there were no double payments, but that payment came in after December, came in January.
Okay.
So that's what that was
I'm-
for. Yep.
Because I know,
I had the same when I saw the bill. I was like, wait a minute. But they never got the bill in before the end of December.
okay.
Are
So,
there spare copies of any of this?
yeah, I did.
Do you gentlemen want to take a look at this stuff so you can see, track along? I know my first meeting, I was like just sitting there lost, like what are we talking about?
I don't know that I have extra budget.
I can share, I mean,
Yeah,
we can,
we can snatch your budget and
I'm
then,
not overly concerned, guys.
okay. Here's we can share the copy of the report.
So, for the most part, our expenditures have only been, the telephone bill and that trash bill. I'm just gonna borrow this one, because I think I gave somebody my copy. But, correct me if I'm wrong, so the budget did not pass, we're on a default budget, so,
Which means you're on the last
Last year's.
year's, which means there weren't any cuts to the
budget,
budget.
right, so we actually
some increase.
kept some money that we would have not had.
Yeah, you didn't lose any money.
Yeah. So,
But
Rip-
is the Brown Graphics in the right spot for the $75? Because it's really not park repairs. 'Cause
And
that's where it's showing up right now, is park repairs, and it's really not,
that's,
park repairs would be either,
Is that the sign that was,
so that would be, I put it to that account.
okay,
Again, sometimes I'm not sure where to put things.
okay.
Because we have park repairs and park maintenance. That was the sign, so we had a metal sign made for the tennis courts.
Okay,
The cardboard sign that was made before didn't survive the summer. So I have it at my house. Usually my husband is kind enough and will go install it when the weather gets better. But now that will go on the gate. That sign has the phone number that people have to call to get the code. So that's what that $75 was. Lisa ordered it, it didn't get done before December. I picked it up in January and she billed. Actually, she sent the bill here, so maybe Beth put it there. I mean, if we want to move it, we can.
fine,
But that's what it is, it's the sign. So the phone bill, the sign, and the trash were the things that we've taken out of the budget so far.
and the Eversource is for all 4 locations?
Yeah. That does pretty good. Last year when we had a spike in that, she called us right away. Because we don't see that bill. It comes as a town bill. It's not one that shows up in the mailbox. So since Lisa left, I try to come down a couple times a month, check the mailbox for bills. Pretty much Country 3, which we haven't done anything there, the telephone bill, the porta-johns, and the trash are the bills that we generally get during the month. We'll be talking about that in a minute. I will work with Beth to make sure that the internet at Chase Park gets turned back on for the month of May. So we'll have the March and April will remain low, and then we're gonna see an increase come May when the internet gets turned back on. Just so everybody knows if you see a jump. So that's it for the budget. Bear with me here. So Dave and Kristen did get some quotes for the Porta Johns. And let me just,
And do we have one from, do we ever get one from American Guardian?
no, so the trash has not been done.
Would you like me to make those phone calls?
You can, yeah, I just got back, I've been gone for 3 weeks.
Okay.
I just got back in town on Sunday, so, I've had limited ability to do that.
Something I can pick up and run with?
Huh?
I mean, if you want to, we were just gonna call around, see what we can get for dumpster quotes. How many do we need again?
3?
Well, so let's do the
Yeah,
Porta
sorry,
Johns and
sorry,
then
I'm cutting you off.
do that, that's okay. So the locations, just to go over them, one standard unit at Purington Field, one standard unit at Inison, 2 standard units at, Bolton, and the tennis courts, we've always had one ADA compliant unit there. We asked, on the quotes, we asked for the drop-off date to start April 1st and be serviced weekly. And so here, I'm gonna read the quotes to you. I'm not gonna read the company, I'm just gonna read the amounts. So quote number 1, ADA compliant unit, $215 per month. The standard unit, $175 a month. Second quote, ADA unit, $350 per month. And the standard unit,
50?
$350.
Okay,
And the standard unit, $180 per month. Third quote, ADA compliant unit, $275 per month, plus a one-time fee of $90 per unit. We're only getting one unit, so it'd be $90. The standard unit would be $179.81.
180.
Hold on, because the third quote is a little more complicated.
Yeah,
So, I'll just say it again, the ADA is $275 plus a one-time $90.
okay,
The standard unit at Inison and Purington, because it's one each, would be $179.81 plus a one-time fee of $90. Standard unit at Bolton, because there's 2 of them, would be $359.63 plus a one-time fee of $120.
So they're charging drop fees.
Yes. So do you need me to repeat any one of those?
Could I get the first?
The first one was ADA compliant
Yep.
unit at $215 and the standard unit at $175.
Thank you.
Do we
So-
know, I'm sorry.
and that's for 3X of the 175s, right?
Say that again.
That's 3, we wanted 3 of the,
One
Standards,
Purington,
right?
one Inison.
So we would have 4 standard units, Purington, Inison, and 2 at Bolton. So 4 standard units and 1 ADA compliant.
And how many months?
Drop-off date would be April 1st. And we did not, I do not see, I think we have them picked back up.
Don't we do like 6 months, like October or November?
Yeah, it's like November for football.
Yeah, because some of the fields go till
Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
So final pickup would be, now that doesn't mean, for example, we could have Chase, no, Chase doesn't have them, sorry. If we had a field ending in October, then we could have it picked up sooner, but, right, and I'm gonna talk about the, field usage, but we have Bolton going until mid-November. So maybe Inison and Purington could go a month early, but I would say drop off April 1st through the month of November.
Yeah, it's the end of
is what
November.
our time frame would be. So, I
And
think,
I know last year,
Seemed to work.
didn't WAC help us out on?
so WAC helped us out. I think last year they did, because they wanted, I think we had planned drop-offs for May, and they wanted April, and they covered April. So that doesn't mean we have to, we could do the same thing we did last year and say we'll start them all in May. And if WAC wants them sooner, they can cover that cost.
I mean, we can also bring that up at the end of the year too, if WAC is the only ones using the
football.
fields, it's football.
Football's the only one
So they
in November.
we can request that they help cover the last month as well.
Yeah,
Was it-
yes.
I just want to float the idea of putting an ADA one at Bolton, because you're going to have two there anyway, and it's probably the highest traffic use place. And I think in years past, there has been an ADA one there. I'm not sure this year, but I think the year before.
Yeah, somehow, there was a period of time this year, towards the end of the season, there were three. I think
Because one was
football
up
brought one in.
by the softball field.
One was up at softball, and there were two by the football soccer fields, and I think,
Yes, football did
Football
bring
brought
it
one in.
additional.
Yeah,
Okay.
football.
and I think football brought the ADA.
That, I would just want to ask, whether we go over to WAC and
Thank
say,
you.
hey, here's what the costs are. Are you guys willing to upgrade the difference to go pay the extra, what, $25, $40 a month to have ADAs at all the locations? I mean, really, you got parents and grandparents coming to seeing their kids and grandkids play, that putting all ADAs in, honestly, I think would be a better,
It also moves us to be a lot more ADA compliant as a town. Which actually was something I should have added to the agenda, but we can talk about it another time, is ADA stuff.
So so that would, what we'd essentially be doing is the one unit at Purington would be ADA,
yeah.
the one at Inison would be ADA, one of the two at Bolton would be ADA, and the tennis would be ADA. And so there's a couple options we could float. Dave, your option of asking WAC and football to cover the difference, or do we ask WAC to pick up the month of April for Purington, Inison, and Bolton, and ask JR Football to pick up the month of November for Bolton? So we would only pay May through October. That's an option
I would
too.
like to definitely do that. I'd ask them to cover the first and last month, the April and November from WAC and.
See if they'll help, and I think they're gonna probably on the same thing of saying, hey, having everything ADA is going to be better, just simply. And
So,
whether if you go back to whoever we got quote one from and say, hey, we do 5 ADAs and can you do us any,
Can you
okay.
do us any favors on
So
those?
the next question would be, we have 3 quotes. Which quote do we feel we want to go with?
I would do quote one.
I mean, quote 1 is the least amount of money for us. Quote 2, the ADA's at $350.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than quote 1. I mean, I feel like quote 2 is
However,
probably off the table.
Quote 3, if we're doing ADAs and they're combining drop fees,
You're
that
still above.
creates, it's more, but I'm just, yeah.
So what I can do, if everybody is comfortable with quote 1, we can call them and ask them if we did all ADAs, if there's anything they could do in terms of reducing the ADA cost down. And that is a weekly service on each one of those.
Yeah.
And then what I think I heard is that we would ask WAC to cover the month of April and JR Football to cover the month of November.
And ask them if they would be willing to cover the difference to make
Do
them
we want to do
ADA.
that also?
Yes.
Yes. I definitely.
I would just say, hey, what are you guys willing to help us out with? Because really, we're bringing in the porta potties for whack.
Yeah.
Especially at Anderson, we're pretty much bringing it in. They're pretty much use it 95% of the time.
Yeah.
There's one church group who uses Anderson on a Monday night. Other than that, it's pretty much,
Yeah, and you can't count the playground as the usage at Bolton. I mean, it's all for sports at Bolton.
Okay, so, to keep things moving, then we probably should make a motion. So I'd be looking to entertain a motion that would include the quote that we're going to accept and the terms that we just agreed to in terms of ADAs, asking WAC to help, would be included in that motion. So, anybody wanted to make a motion?
Okay.
We need a motion to ask WAC and
we need a motion
JR
to
Here,
football.
I'll make the
we
motion.
need a motion to accept quote one and go from there.
I would like a motion to accept quote one with the change that we are going to have one ADA at each field. Additionally, we will drop off in May and pick up in September unless, pick up in October unless WAC and John Stark Football Junior can pick up those fees. And we will also ask WAC if they are willing to cover the difference between the regular and ADA monthly of $40.
Can I say something again?
Yeah?
I have a little bit of consternation on asking WAC to upgrade to ADA compliant. It seems like if we are going to provide the porta potties, that we should do the ADA compliant. I think asking the two groups on either end of the season is a reasonable thing, but I think if we're going to put porta potties in and be ADA compliant, that we shouldn't ask for help on that.
I think we're going to do it no matter what, but
So,
yeah,
ju-
yeah.
so, hold on.
Okay.
So we have a motion.
Yes,
We need a second, and then we can have discussion.
okay.
And modify that. So,
I'll second so we can go to
all right.
discussion.
So, the motion on the table, made by Shelby, seconded for Matt, is that we accept quote number one with a drop-off date of May 1st and a pickup date of October 1st, October 30th, that Purington will have an ADA, Innocent will have an ADA, Bolton will have one of the two ADA in the tennis courts. We will approach WAC to pick up the cost of the April porta potties and JR football in November. And in addition, if they have any interest or ability to split the difference on the ADA cost. That's the motion on the table. Now, discussion on the motion. So I think feeling that we should just pick up the ADA 100% and not ask them.
I think if, I'm going to use the word "we," if we are going to supply the porta potties, that we should supply ADA porta potties and not make somebody else chip in to make them ADA.
I'm in agreement with you that no matter what, we should supply ADA. I just think that budgetary-wise and the fact that they're
They're the primary
They're the
people.
primary users, and I think their budget is actually, has more in it.
So I think we're trying to.
I just think it, having a discussion with them about picking up part of it and the fact that the costs have increased
We're,
is maybe more.
we're
that-
pulling in an old discussion now that we're talking about renewing contracts, we're
Yeah.
pulling in an old discussion that we've had since I've been here about approaching WAC to help offset the costs of the porta
Porta-potties and the
potties
trash.
Yeah,
and the trash.
regardless really of whether they're ADA
Yeah.
or non, but with the cost increasing, it just is another point of discussion.
Well, I mean, it gets into a
Not yet.
whole philosophical discussion
Yes.
on where's the dividing line between the town Parks and Rec and a private entity, WAC, that uses the fields for the purpose of recreation for the town's populace,
Yeah.
both young and old. Just anecdotally, I spend a lot of times at the soccer fields because I put the lines down and I maintain them. It is amazing the number of people that come in and use the porta potties during the day. The police come in, UPS drivers come in, Amazon drivers come in, just people driving down the road come in to use
During
them.
the summer, Bolton was used primarily by the linesmen.
Right.
If you spend any time at Bolton during the day, they all, their trucks drive in, and they also use the trash.
Same appearance.
But, so, also, I just wanna, I did a quick calculation, also to go towards this discussion. So we have a budget line item of $5,000 for it's called outside services, but that's where the porta potties, the porta johns get taken to. If we go to the ADAs as we just recommended, if we go 5 months, asking WAC like they did last year, because last year we went May to October. WAC came in and wanted them for April, they picked up the cost. Anyways, if we go 5 months at what we just agreed to, it's $6,200. So we're already $1,200 over budget.
So May
If
through
we go-
October is actually 6 months.
I'm about to say, yeah,
So that-
it's 6 months.
That would make it more.
No, your math is right.
Yeah,
Your math is
six.
right at 6210.
Okay.
Because I counted it as 4 ADAs and one of the other, which is 1,035 a month, times 6 months is 6,200 and
Okay.
change.
And then if we didn't ask them to pick up April in November.
That's 2 more months.
That's 8 months, that's 8280. So we're really over budget at that rate. So
So-
I think one of the things that we have to really look at is, our budget costs here, and that we didn't budget, I don't believe we budgeted for April or November. I think we budgeted for May, and we didn't budget for ADA.
We had written,
And I'm not saying we don't do it, but I think we have to recognize that a $1,200 overage could be compensated in another line item, but a 3,200 is a lot tougher.
So let me suggest an amendment to this motion. I think we should be focusing this motion specifically on the base contract of ADAs at each field with one standard plus at Bolton, May through end of October, and close the motion at that. And then if we can make another motion that's more clarified, we will approach generals and WAC if they would like to cover May and they would like to cover November, and speak to them about assistance offsetting the rest of the months. But I think they should be separated and clarified instead of one big
So
jumble.
could I just a little bit of an amendment to what you just said. I think we should be voting on a base contract
Yeah.
of May to October. May 1st to the end of October, period. If other organizations want to use the fields ahead of time and have porta potties there, we would entertain an agreement for them to bring them in early. We don't even have to approach them, we just say to them, this is what the Parks and Rec can do.
Yeah.
May to November, we're gonna put in the ADAs. We eat the extra cost if they want additional ones. To your point, not even ask them to cover the ADA, we cover it.
What is the incremental cost of going to the ADAs?
So,
$40 a month per unit?
So $40 a month per, is it 4 units?
Yes.
So that's 160 times 6?
$720 difference for the year. So if you're doing all ADAs, it's for 6 months, so May through October, is $6,210.
Still over
For
budget.
8 months of 5.
No, I don't think we need to go to, is that, we're not even going to consider that 8 months.
I'm gonna
Okay.
give you all, I'm gonna give you all the math.
Okay.
The 8 months is 8280 for 5 ADAs, 4 regulars and 1 ADA for 6 months is 5,490. So basically, it's a
$1,200
$720 difference
Yep.
to go all AD, to go with the ADA.
to go all ADA.
Which I think is a lot easier to swallow,
Right.
to make a $700 amendment to our budget to cover it and take it out of another line item
right,
and just do the 6 months.
I think that's what we did last year.
Yep.
The only difference now becomes that we're going ADA, that
Yeah.
ups that cost.
Yep.
And like last year, they approached us and said, we'd like them to start in April. Can we, if we pay for it, can we do that?
So we let them
And I
approach
think,
us and make
I
that.
think that the football made their own decision to bring in, because they're the only ones left in November. So we have an amendment on the table that we could make a amendment to,
Or you can just update your amendment.
update the amendment to read as we just stated. I don't know if you want to read it or have him read it, or,
Okay. I want to make sure I have it right when I write it down. So we are going to do 4 times ADAs plus 1 standard at Bolton, correct?
correct.
Okay. From 1 May
Yep,
through essentially 1 November, because,
well, we have to get it picked up by the end of October, we pay for a whole nother month.
So 10/31.
so, yeah, okay, so 31 October. Okay. And that's it. So we are amending the motion to accept the quote from Company 1. And we are going to go with 4 ADA units and plus 1 standard unit at Bolton Field. Contract to go 1 May through 31 October.
I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Matt, seconded by Kyle, to accept quote number 1, 4 ADAs, 1 standard, from May 1st to October 31st. Any further discussion on that? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstain? The ayes have it, 7-0.
Okay.
We will call.
I would like to make a motion to have a discussion with WAC and JSR football, to ask them if they would like to, have the Porta-Johns early and late, and pay for it, letting them know what has already been approved by the board, and furthermore, to discuss with them if they would like to contribute to any of the costs of the other months.
But before we go any farther with
Yeah.
that, I just want to say, did we vote on an amendment to the motion? And now we need to vote on the original motion?
Actually, you would be correct. We voted on the amendment to the original motion, so now we need
So
to
just,
vote
Okay.
on the original.
right, if you want to
motion.
go, you know,
Yeah, sorry.
that's okay. I just want to make sure that's the rules that we're
So
following.
now, so we voted on the amendment, and now
Yes.
we're voting again
Yes.
to amend the amendment.
No.
Oh,
No,
Well, no.
you voted on the amendment, that passed. Now the motion is to accept the language that has
the
been
amendment.
updated.
Yeah.
It, we
Okay.
probably could have just amended the original,
Yeah.
redone the motion in the second. But, we'll just do, well.
all right, so we
we'll clear this
have,
up.
so, now you've confused me even more.
Sorry.
I thought we amended her I thought Matt
You
amended.
did. So,
now
and
we
you-
So we
and the-
should have
and the
voted.
amendment, and the amendment
Amendment
passed.
passed.
We have a second to the amendment passed. Now we have the original motion.
Okay.
With the updated language.
Okay, so on the table, we have the original motion
As amended.
that was just amended.
Yes,
Do we have any further discussion on that?
please no.
All those in favor?
Yes.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Anybody abstain? Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
Okay.
Before you go forward with your motion,
Yeah.
could I just ask, do we need to have a motion for that? If I, as the chair.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
If I notified
That's just business.
WAC and JR.
It
this
had
is
been
what we're-
put forward that we
Yeah,
would have
before,
two
right.
different motions, so
Yeah.
I just was trying to
But
be
if I-
expedient.
Yeah, I think I can just let them know that we publish, we will have porta potties for these dates like we did last year. If they choose to do anything different, they can come and talk to us about that, which they did last year.
I think that would be fine.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
think
don't
that's
need another motion.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, just to stay where we're, I know we haven't gotten the quotes for the trash removal, but I want to throw one thing out.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, we're seeing increased costs in all of these services. Many towns have carry in, carry out. So you go to the soccer games, there are no dumpsters. People have to carry their trash out. I can tell you last year, the extra pickup we did at Bolton, yes, the utility people had stuff in there, but frankly, I believe either the soccer or the football teams had a pizza party, because I picked pizza boxes up all through the woods. Trophy boxes are in there. You know, one of the questions becomes, as the budget gets tighter and tighter, I'm just throwing it out, do we continue to supply dumpsters, or do we go to a carry in, carry out?
I think at Purington for sure, we can do carry in, carry out. Even though it is used a lot, it's just, I don't feel like it's necessary to have a dumpster there.
I can tell you, just also, the tennis courts are carry in, carry out. There's no trash, and there's a lot of trash that gets just, left there that we end up picking up, but the tennis courts have never had any trash removal whatsoever. It's full of carry in, carry out.
I say, they don't have any trash cans at all,
We
right?
used to. We took them away because nobody emptied them. They got full, and we just stuck them in the back of our truck and took them to the dump, but they were not emptied by Parks. So we can get the quotes, we don't have to talk about it tonight,
And then-
but let's get the quotes, knowing that this is increased, and see what we have, and just give it some thought. I'm not saying we have to, but I just think it's food for thought.
On that note, how many do we need?
So we have one at Chase Park.
Yep,
We have one at Purington,
yep,
one at Inison, and one at Bolton.
and they're all full size?
Full size at Chase, I think it's a half, I wanna say it's a full at Inison. And
I'm sure
then
Bolton is a full,
Oh, I think Inison is,
I think
Bolton
Purington,
is a full, I think Purington's a half.
yeah.
But again, you come down to, Chase, we definitely need a full size, correct,
Absolutely.
Kristen?
right
But
now,
Inison, again, I hate to say it, the only people that use it are pretty much going to saying, hey, look, it's carry in, carry out. How much trash is gonna get left, that's the whole problem.
Exactly.
right,
And where it's gonna become more of a mess, because people are not taking their garbage out.
Well, do we potentially downsize at least Inison, maybe remove Purington and save a couple of bucks on that? We know Bolton's being used, we know Chase has to have a full size. We can maybe start small.
so what, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I feel like there's maybe a third option here, but I might be incorrect in this, but I know I've seen some places where you have to unlock the
Well, we have
Like,
some of ours
I mean,
chained because
Yeah.
we get people dumping chairs and baby furniture and,
So
so you
like,
can only open it.
if the people who used it were the only ones who had access to open it during their events, like, I don't know, I'm just throwing that out as further discussion as an option, but
It's something to ask.
ultimately, I do feel like this does have to be a larger discussion with other people in town, because if we go to carry in, carry out, I think that, you know, the WAC and, JS Junior's boards need to put it down through their directors and their coaches, that just like you look for like, are kids leaving sweatshirts or water bottles, that you're also looking at both sides of the field. Is anybody leaving trash, like on the parent side and the
But
player
we could
side?
definitely ask for assistance with policing. I don't think we need to request it, but we could definitely say, hey,
So I think maybe if we, and I'll put it on the agenda for next month, get the quotes to see what their cost. I just know, like, if you go to Henniker to any of the soccer games up there, on the back, the old stage road or whatever, there's no dumpsters. You go to a baseball game at the middle school, there's no dumpsters up on the field for the kids to, they have to pick everything up and take it away. So it's just an option if we start to finding that the costs are going up and it's not aligning with the budget.
Yep.
I think it just gives us an opportunity to talk about it.
Can I say something? I would feel much more comfortable asking the football and the WAC if they wanted to pay for the dumpsters than to the porta potties. I'm with you, I see what's in the dumpsters a lot because I throw paint cans in there and stuff like that. It's not all just ancillary stuff from soccer games and football games and stuff. So that may be something that they would want to pick up, and we would have to print signs to say this is a carry-in, carry-out facility, but maybe they would want to pick that up. And there might be a distinction too between parks and recreational fields. You've got the skateboard park. I mean, last times I was there, there's trash all over the place, but the trash can's full. I mean, what are the kids supposed to do?
Right.
So is there a difference on how we want to approach the park type things versus the recreation type things?
Right. So we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting. The next item I had was the annual calendar. I put that on there only because I didn't get any feedback from anybody that there was anything we missed on it. So I think I left it at the last meeting, take a look at it, and I think I passed you all out a copy, and, so I think we can publish it as is unless we,
I mean, we can always make modifications
yeah, we
as
can,
needed.
yep. So,
I didn't see anything that jumped out as
Yep.
a problem.
So, can I just jump real quick, because I think I can do this quickly, and then we're gonna go to Chase Park to finish up. So I did want to talk real quick about the facilities, applications, field use.
Yep.
So the first one is, I got a new one in the mailbox. It is, Conray and Till and Courtney Giles would like to use the gazebo on May 24th from 3:45 to 4:30 for the ceremony of vows. There is no conflict on the calendar right now, so if we're all okay with that, I could call and notify them that we're all okay with that.
Better way to use it.
Okay?
Go for it.
All right, so I'm gonna do that. I have been through all the applications for field use. I did notify, so some of WAC coaches sent me an email versus the form. JR Football sent me an email. They did today send me the form, so I have their form. I reached out to WAC and asked for lacrosse, soccer, and cheerleading to get me the forms. But I have put in the patriotics, so I created the calendar that I told you I did. I put in the patriotic celebration, WAC softball, WAC baseball for Purington, WAC baseball for Bolton, Generals football. I've also put in WAC soccer, WAC cheer, and WAC lacrosse, even though I don't have the forms based on the emails. The only conflict I had in all of that was JR Generals requested the football field, the baseball field, and the soccer field from mid-August through middle of November. I have told them that the soccer field is not available because WAC soccer gets first, gets that first. That they are done, WAC soccer is done towards the end of October. JR football is welcome to use it after that. But that was the only conflict that I had. So I was able to put in the patriotic celebration, this new one, and no conflicts at any of the fields. Football is asked through mid-November. We generally close the field beginning to mid-November, so I put the field closure at mid-November, type of thing. So the reason I'm bringing this up, if you're okay with that, we could not have a field usage meeting,
Are we,
and I could email all these people and say, you've been approved, and it saves us an hour, hour and a half from having everybody sit here and tell us what they want. I tried to do this in an effort to prevent a
Thank you for
meeting.
I mean, the only ones I know of that obviously are not probably in that pile is I know we have the one church group who always has Inison, and they do that Monday nights during the summer.
Yeah,
And
So
then
I would-
know that there are, the middle school generally does fishing, a day of fishing and a beach day,
Yeah.
and that's in mid-June or beginning part of June, so we know that those are coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
didn't
don't think
put,
we have to approve them, we can wait till we get the forms next month.
I didn't put a calendar together for Chase Park, but if we know of groups that, do want to use the fields, number one, legally, they're supposed to fill out a form. And if they don't, then they don't get on the calendar, and if there's a conflict, we can't help them because they didn't put it in. And I don't know, so if there's anybody else missing, I have not gotten any other applications, so I would move forward to approve these. Then I can let WAC and JR Football know where they stand, because they've all been asking me, when are we scheduling field use meeting? So, are we okay
I'm good.
with that? Okay. So it is in a calendar that's in a spreadsheet that I will email to everybody so everybody has access to it. It's color-coded, it has a legend, so you just look at, and it's by the tab. So there's a tab for Purington, tab for Inison. So when you get to Bolton, it's color-coded based on soccer, football, baseball, but you can see. So lacrosse, for example, is asking to use soccer and baseball. It's not in conflict because it's off-season with baseball. So, I did have a request by JR Football that therefore home games, that there be no soccer games scheduled on those weekends because of parking. I've informed them, I spoke to WAC. WAC doesn't control the league schedules them. I've let JR Football know, sorry, you're gonna have to make it work. Use parking up at the baseball, down the road, whatever, but, it is what it is. Both of them, the leagues schedule the games.
Yeah.
So they're both aware of that. So,
Encourage carpooling.
right, so if you guys are all good, we're gonna pass on a field usage
Yeah.
meeting. All right, one last meeting we have to come to. All righty. Now to kind of focus on Chase Park. Make sure I call these people. So the last one really is Chase Park and getting things up and running. We want to talk about I'd like to start, because Kristen is still here, if we could talk about the car tags and the boat tags, and then I would like to just move on to some of all the other things we gotta do to get open for the spring. So, one of the goals this year was to look at trying to order car tags that would reduce our cost. So I think, Kyle, were you able to talk to Brown? Did you?
So yeah, after speaking with Brown Graphics, what Jen came up with were two options that she had to bring to the table. So we keep with business as usual. The best way that she can make it happen would be 65 cents per sticker at 1,000 of them. So $650. It would be jumping up. She was saying it was 62.50 or 62.5 cents
And how many did you say?
for 1,000.
Okay, and we're trying to look not to do 1,000.
For sure,
Yep.
I hear you there.
Yep.
But that was her thing, is that if we want to go with inside of the car, that it's going to be $650 this year, up from $625 year over year. If we were able to go with the durable 3x3 outside of the window that she would recommend, it would drop it down for 1,000 of them at 48 cents per sticker. So we'd be able to get down to 48 cents per. And then what she was highly recommending is that we figure out a way that if we're averaging, let's just for round number call it $750 a year, we come up with a printed or a tablet with a digital spreadsheet of who it is associated to. We go 001 through the end of this year. That way when we call her back next year, we only need X number of stickers and we can start to trim it back a little bit. But she was saying to cut our cost by starting off with this big chunk, and then at that point order 500 next year instead of 1,000 of them, if we're averaging say $750 a year. But it was something that 48 cents per sticker at 1,000, so $4.80 is the cheapest that she can come up with for what's going to be an option.
Those stickers are going outside of the.
Outside of the car, and they have to be 3" by 3" because that is a more standard size, where 2" by 2" is what we're currently using, and that is a custom size. It doesn't matter if we have them say the year, if we did a custom number, if we did custom anything on top of that, that 2" by 2" design that we're using right now is, she's calling that the sticky wicket and the more cost prohibitive thing that we're doing.
Waste, it doesn't fit their sheets.
Right, and then Kristen, you were able to get some information, and I think it's important that we all understand, and maybe just a quick review of the challenges you have year to year as we deal with the stickers and why we end up discarding a number of them, and because they're color-coded and.
We discard them because it makes it challenging for us to, when people are there on a repeat visit, to know who's current and who's not. And oftentimes we have people who maybe come to the lake 1 or 2 times a year and they think that their dump sticker is the same as their Chase Park sticker, or they feel like they've gotten it 1 year and that that's good for all future visits, which neither is the case. So we do get a little pushback there. I just wonder what kind of pushback we would get. Currently, stickers are positioned down by the inspection sticker. And so we have a few residents each year who say that there shouldn't be anything within inches of those, and they ask us to move them up higher. Those people we do have to stop more frequently because of that layer of tint that's about the top 4 inches of our windshields. So I just wonder what it would be like putting them on the outside. I mean, to save 20 cents a sticker, that completely makes sense. But I wonder if we wouldn't then change the positioning from the driver's right to the passenger at the top, just to make that make more sense. But that works for me. The other thing is, with changing the stickers, we change them year after year for those reasons that I gave you. It would make the boat stickers and the car stickers need to be 2 different colors, because car sticker wise we do average about 800 a summer, but boat stickers were like in the 300 or so. And that does take into account the ones that are senior cars are free stickers, second cars are deeply discounted, so on and so forth. So
So you put it, if it's strictly a car, they get a sticker.
yes,
If they come in with a boat, repeat again what they.
if they come in with a boat, we sticker the boat for access to the ramp. A sticker is not required on the vehicle unless the vehicle intends to come over without the boat in tow. That's the difference.
So last year, when you were taking boats out of the water, you had
Yes.
boats with no stickers.
Correct.
Was that an issue? You had mentioned that it was a challenge. Was it a
It's certainly a
challenge?
challenge, and I think the issue becomes then, how did the boat go in? And whatever method it used to get in, why isn't it exiting there? Because now what it's doing is exiting at no cost or no fee, where everyone else who's entered that way and exits that way has paid their fee. So it becomes sort of that fair share idea, where we're using it to exit but not paying the small fee to go in.
So you don't, it's not the type of tag you have, it's just we have to make a decision. If a boat comes in at the end of the year without a tag on it, are we gonna charge them
Yes,
if they wanna take the boat out?
that would be the
Absolutely.
decision to be made.
Absolutely. You wanna,
And I agree, 100%.
I'm not trying to
Yeah,
step on,
no,
but
yeah,
you use the town boat
Yep.
ramp, you pay for it.
Yeah.
That's that.
I think what we have to do is we didn't officially address it last year, so it became a challenge. I'm only, for the sake of making sure we know what our challenges are, that we know what we need to address. So the same stickers that you use on the car, you can put on a boat.
No.
No, you have to have a separate.
We need a separate sticker, because what we don't want to happen is someone then takes their car sticker and puts it on their boat for the day. We do record the hull number, the identifier, just like we write down the plate number when we're associating stickers. And it's not because most people are doing the right thing all of the time. It's just how we identify them. So should there be an issue and someone says, oh, I got a new car, I'd like to get a sticker, we're able to easily make that transfer,
Yeah.
because we can verify.
So we have quotes from Brown. Before the meeting, I think my parking permit, which is, I think is the same one I brought here last month.
Okay,
Because my parking permit is what the town uses for other stickers. So if we were to go with this, it would align with what other, I think that's where they're getting the stickers for the transfer station. So you got quotes. Do you want to speak to it? Because you have two different numbers here. I'm assuming one's cars and one's boats?
yes, because I wasn't aware at the time that we would consider moving the car stickers to the outside, but I think that, to Kyle's point, that it is less expensive to get the ones that are on the outside instead of on the inside.
And to that point, I did want to, I have not spent a day in your shoes, Kristen, so I do not know the ins and outs of what it takes for the car going through. But I did want to make sure at least that it wasn't going to be that sticker survives for the first month of use, and all of a sudden it's just a white circle showing up, and then you later's like, what is going on with this?
That's a
So,
good point. The other thing I was worried about is, we don't get like very hot weather, but with the humidity and the weather, I guess I would wonder also how it would weather.
So Jen was confident that this would be kind of like a 1-year vinyl decal, 1 year plus. She had zero concerns that as far as that longevity, but she was also saying, like, if you want it on the inside for reasons X, Y, and Z, I get that, but that was kind of her most cost-sensitive way of going forward with it.
That makes sense.
I think the biggest challenge is, well, or not challenge, but we change the color every year. To make it easier for
Yeah, I
the
would
staff to know. Last year was purple, this year's yellow.
recommend changes to that, but.
So that, having that running tally makes that difficult.
I get that aspect, and
Yeah.
to to Jen's point, again, having not spent a day in Kristen's shoes or anybody that's seen a car come through, but whether it is a spreadsheet and you have vehicle tag 0 through 50, or 001 through 50 in this slot, you have vehicle 51 through 100 in this slot, you have vehicle 101, like, I just think there's a way to have a slight paper trail, but I haven't been there, so
We
I do
already
not want to.
retain that. We retain that each year, and then,
So that was Jen's point with it, was that at least we could get away from the color-coded system, where you could have it where you're not throwing them, or where one isn't throwing them away at the end of the year, and you could at least roll that into next year's vehicle or boat tag to help save a little bit of money and get them rolling down the road
Or even, yeah, I
in
mean, if we
that
said,
fashion. But
we got 1,000 in red, you know, and we issue 700 this year, then, you know, 725 or whatever, right? Next year, you can say, well, everyone over 740 or everyone over 800 to reduce what the loss, you know, you can just flat out go, well, it has to be over this number now. And that way, long run, I think we can save a little bit of money. I get the color coding thing, and it is a lot easier, but
But if we went with My Parking Pass, we don't have to get 1,000, correct?
correct,
We could get 800,
yes.
because on average, we're using 750. So one option too, by doing it this way, is we don't have to buy 1,000. Now, it doesn't mean we have to change color, but let's get what we need for this
Yeah,
year.
absolutely,
And then if
yeah.
it did make it easier, well, at least we're not throwing any
Yeah.
away. We might have 50 left over, but
exactly,
better
I'd
than
rather toss
300.
50 than 300, yeah.
I personally, the cost per label are about the same. I
Yeah, sorry.
kind of like it to align ourselves with what the town's doing, because then, again, just makes it a little bit easier.
Aren't we doing away with the transfer station decals?
Say that again?
Aren't they getting rid of the transfer station decals?
That is a,
Ongoing discussion.
But the problem is with the transfer station decal, is it can be removed.
Yes.
You can reach in there and just peel that thing off and stick it on another vehicle, which is probably the intention, but for Chase Park,
I
Oh, I've still
didn't
got my
price
sticker from
claims,
2
I
years
priced
ago on my truck
stickers.
from Chase Park.
I feel that technology does bring its own risks and headaches, but Shelby brought up the awesome thing previously as far as, is there a way that we could have some type of, check it out, here is my pass number digitally, and yep, cool, that pass number lines up with a red F-150 license plate, have a great
So
afternoon.
can we get that done by May 1st?
No, because we don't have signal. So that's really our largest barrier up there. We don't have signal. Frequently, if someone has a piece of mail on their phone that they can access to prove that they're a resident, they have to leave the parking lot, go down the street a little bit, and then come back with a picture that they've taken, because there's not signal there.
Gotcha.
I'm not opposed to that, I'm just
spitballing.
saying
No.
that maybe we spend the next year looking
think
for
it's-
those.
yeah, I think
We
that's a
have
research.
literally, we've got to make a decision here tonight, and we've got to get these things ordered. So, I mean, that's part of the goal tonight is to say, who are we gonna pick? My parking permit, do it online, have Naomi order them for us, or are we gonna go with Brown Graphics? I think those are our two options. Could you just address the $420, what was the additional, so there's one that's 400,
Those are the
Boats.
boats, right?
the boats?
Yes.
So that's a different tag for the boat?
Correct.
Okay, so this would be, and we didn't talk to Brown about an additional tag for the boat. So we'd have to find out, if we went with Brown, what that would cost us. Or do we just align ourselves with the town, what the town is doing, and go through the, what are folks' thoughts?
I mean, the
I don't want to
price,
speak for Brown Graphics, but I would have to imagine that there's a way that if we had 0 through 1,000 being designated to cars, 1,001 through 1,500 being designated for boats, my guess would be at that external adhesive, I can't imagine she would be charging us more per per sticker. So we would still be at that 48 cents per, just to go with the most conservative approach possible.
But the boat requires a much more, heavy-duty, decal than the car. It's a whole different type of sticker.
In the last few years, though, they've been exactly the same. The only difference is where the label is sticky. Boats are sticky on the back, cars were sticky on the front.
Okay,
But the stickers were identical.
okay.
And then I have a solution, I think, or I'm proposing a solution to this situation with the boats. When we check in boats this year, it's my suggestion that we ask, will you be staying in for the summer? And if so, we hand those folks a receipt, and we just ask them to present that when it's time to check out. We have the tags already. We have more than 500 of them, and we know that that's a large number that we don't use for boats. Record the whole number on it, and then just require that at checkout. We have a way to maintain them in our record keeping that we can easily manage. So I think that that's a good temporary fix, given that the budget is what it is, and that this is sort of not a last minute situation, but something that we're going to work to address.
And I think that we can also, to supplement that, information on the website that clearly states, in order to remove a boat from the ramp, you must have a sticker and receipt.
Yes.
Otherwise, you will be charged the seasonal fee to pull your boat out. And maybe even put some signage at Chase Park if we had to, but at least get it on the website. When we update the Chase Park fees, which we're not gonna change, but we'll just change the date, we'll make it clear that in order to pull your boat out at the end of the season, you must have both the sticker and your receipt. Otherwise, you'll be charged the seasonal fee.
And so the receipt would just be presented at inspection before entering the water.
All right, so the question then on the table is, are we going to stay with Brown Graphics, or are we gonna move to my parking permit and align with where the town,
And
Now-
not order as many.
and not order as many?
Well,
I'm in
the
favor.
the boat ones, you need what, 400 at most? How many would you need for the boat?
Do we even need 300?
I don't know, I'm asking you, how many do we need for the boats?
It's been many months, I apologize. I don't have that number. But I think that we could easily get that from Beth.
Okay,
I mean, if we go to a revolving number system, then if we got 400 and didn't use them all, it would just roll into the next year.
All right, I need a decision.
I think my parking permit. That's my opinion.
I am kind of in favor of the same, aligning with the town, at least giving it a try this year, and keeping it all in one.
What was the cost on that one?
So for 1,000 labels, which we don't need to get, $680. But I think we could drop that down to 800. Save us a
no,
little
it's
bit.
420, because those are,
420 is the boat.
but you're saying go, I thought we were going to the sticking on the outside of the window, or are we still staying on the inside of the window?
Option number 2, aren't these, one is the boat option, one's the car option.
Yes.
Option number 2 is a car, 680, but we could drop that instead of 1,000 labels, get 800.
But that's 68 cents, works out to 68 cents a piece. Brown Graphics doing it for 65 cents a piece.
Right, but we have to buy 1,000. We can't buy 800.
Oh, okay, I thought you could buy,
So I think she'll only do it for 1,000.
Yeah, that was her thing, is that 1,000 is where she makes the batch at.
okay.
So, again, her thing was that if we did it with a back adhesive, so it's going on the outside of the windshield at a 3" by 3" is how we get that down to 48 cents. Otherwise, it sticks at 65 cents.
So,
I would stay with the
So-
inside the window.
So my permit, if we drop to 800, it would be $544 for 800 stickers.
Versus $650 for 1,000,
Right.
which gets us a year and a half, almost, of stickers.
If we really wanna be changing the color.
Then we gotta buy
Yeah.
another 1,000 the
Yep.
next year.
No,
She's-
yeah, that's
she's at
true.
1,000
Yeah.
every year.
Why can't we go to a numerical every year? I mean, if you own 001 this
Well,
year
I
and you
think
pay your fee next year,
if we
why
have to
can't
buy
you
a
keep
1,000
001 for 2 years in a row?
If we
Why
have to
can't
go
you
1,000 a
I
year
think
for our
that
minimum,
a lot of us, okay,
650.
if you stand at the gate and you've got cars pouring in and you're trying to, oh, you had
Look at
sticker
the
number
numbers.
25 last year, well, let me go look
All right,
in.
I will table this for a year, and I think that there's a better way of doing it.
I
And there's
do
gotta be a
too.
better way for Kristen, and
Right.
rather than coming in at the 11th
Right.
hour to figure this out,
Right.
I'll make a motion to say we should go with my parking permit for the 800 stickers for vehicles for the 2025 year.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion on the table to go with my parking permit, ordering 800 labels. And the number we'd also have to have in that motion,
Is the
however many we
financial
need for
amount?
for the boats.
Oh.
It would include the boat stickers too.
Did we not have enough left over to do boats?
We wouldn't if we needed 300,
Okay.
because we ordered 500 last year, and I feel like we're definitely closer to 290 or 299, which leaves me not enough.
We agree to 400, if we go to a number system?
So on this quote here, it's 50, I think there's 10 labels per pack. You quoted 50 packs, that's 500. It could be dropped down to 400 with a bit of a savings there too.
Or 300.
Right, that's the nice flexibility about this is you could even get them mid-season if you needed to.
Yes.
But that we would approve,
So I'll amend my motion then to cover 300 boat labels with 800 vehicle labels, done through my parking permit for the year of 2025.
right, do we have a second to that?
I will
It'll be
second that.
It's 30 packs, which makes it 300, but it's 30 packs of 10. Because they're done in the packs are done in labels of 10,
It's 300.
right, which is 300.
Yeah.
But he's saying 300,
I thought I said labels, so,
30 packs?
30 packs.
I mean, aren't 30 packs the same as 300 labels, or do I need to
Yeah.
go back and
It's the same
clarify?
But I'm just going.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to move forward with my parking permit. To order 800 vehicle labels and 300 boat labels for the 2025 season.
Out of what line item? I have them right here.
It comes out of,
Does it come out of supplies?
611.
I think it comes out of supplies.
I figured we should have it noted.
So line item 611. You okay with adding that to your motion?
I would like to amend my motion to include line item 611, as we'll be paying for the 300 labels for boats and 800 labels for vehicles for 2025 Chase Park.
I second it as amended.
All right, so, motion on the table, my parking permit, 300 boats, 800 vehicles, coming out of line item 611
And what's the
For the twen-
approximate cost?
for the 2020 year. The approximate cost would be 5, 6, 7, 8, but to make it rounded up, 900.
So just to say, spend up to $900.
$796.
Is that what it came out to? So 800, up to $800.
Do I need to amend that again?
I think we're fine, we're just doing it, we're getting the verbiage correct.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those abstained or no? The ayes have it, 7-0. We'll have to connect. Naomi will put the order in and she'll charge it off the town credit card. But we just need to connect to get the colors, numbers, everything correct.
Understood.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for doing
You're
that.
welcome. Here are your applications back.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
so
Easiest thing to do.
to, so in your packet of papers that I gave you, you have one that starts off with, spring opening tasks. So without a director here, I felt like we needed to get organized and look at everything we need to do to get everything open for the spring. So I wanted to go down through the list, and at some point, we need to assign to people. So the first thing, so for everyone's knowledge, there is a new maintenance lawn care contract with a company out of Bow. Naomi has given me the contact name of the person there. Last year, when we scheduled the site walkthroughs for all the fields, they were with us so that we could talk about the repairs that needed, when they would be able to rake the infields and all of those things. So what I'd like to do tonight is talk about, are we in agreement that we're gonna do a site walkthrough and invite WAC and JR Football like we did last year, so that we can have, and the company that doesn't start until April 1st, but Naomi seemed to think they would do the walkthrough with us. So any thoughts on a date? Do we want to do it before April 1st, or, we've got all these interviews coming up. I mean, I want to be
Just cramming
respectful
that.
of everybody's. I have put, some of the sports groups asked to start using the first fields April 1st. I will be notifying them that tentatively, they can't start until the 7th unless we approve, like we did last year. Like, for example, Purington wasn't bad, but Inison was wet. So we either try to get it in before April 1st, or we just don't let anybody on April, for April, the first week of April.
I don't see Purinton drying up anytime soon, I can say that much. And Bolton still has snow.
So throw out some dates. You know, do we want to try to get out there the 29th of March, or do we want to put it off to Saturday, April 5th?
I can do the 29th.
I mean, last year it didn't take us long. The most time, I mean, we had to drive field to field, but it was within an hour or so we were done. And we did also do the tennis courts, because we're gonna start getting questions about when we'll open that, and we just need to take a look at what state it's in and if there are heaves, those kinds of things. But, so I would say plan on 2 hours. You know, so that we could do March 29th if everybody, or at least enough of us can do that. And I would then call the lawn care company and see if they could have somebody join us. It would also give us an opportunity to point out, because all our requests for Bolton Field is included in that contract, it would allow us to show them exactly what we're expecting at Bolton Field. So we could kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. So can 29th, I mean, you guys aren't on the committee, but you're welcome to join us, but for those
I
here,
would love to be part of that. I mean, I'm on the fields probably more than any of you. What kind of a day is the 29th?
it's a Saturday.
Oh,
We'd be looking at doing it on a Saturday morning.
yeah.
So tentatively, I'll reach out. Do we want to start at 9 to 11?
That
Or is
works
that
for
too
me.
early?
That's 9.
I'd rather get it over with and
I mean,
have
for
the rest
me,
of my day.
I've got 10 o'clock on at that point, so if it's 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, I'm more than happy, or I can do the 9 to 10 and take off from there.
Is everybody okay with 9 to 11? All right, so 9 to 11 on the 28th, 29th of March, I will notify WAC and JR Football along with the,
Football you don't need, because football's in the
that's
fall.
true.
Yeah.
So
You
just
only
WAC,
need- You
good
just need
point.
whack baseball and softball.
All right.
People. You don't need you don't need their soccer people or anything
All
like
right.
that.
So-
Lacrosse.
And lacrosse.
I'll let WAC decide who they bring.
Who they want to send.
I'm not getting into that. So we're gonna do a site walk through Purington. That was the only thing I could think of until we see it, what needs to be done there, unless anybody has any other suggestions. Inison walk through, unless we see any damage, nothing else there. Bolton, we need to do the site walk through. We need so the sunshades have to go up. The mulch is gonna have to get spread. We need to coordinate the delivery of the sandbox ties, and we need to move the sandbox.
I will take charter Bolton
Okay.
until we get a director.
All right. So I have the contact information I will get you.
Thank you.
On the ties. I believe we've paid for them. We just need to schedule the delivery.
Because this all goes hand in hand.
Yes, yep.
It's gonna be a project.
All right. So the interviews we've done, the car and boat tags at Chase Park we've taken care of. We'll need to order supplies, but I think we can,
Kristen usually does
Okay.
that, because Kristen usually has it in, she was getting the best price last
Okay.
year according to Beth.
so ropes and water will be done the weekend before.
And Kristen and I will coordinate that.
Okay.
Um,
Picnic tables need, so we need to reach out to the company. I think they've got 7 picnic tables that we need to coordinate having delivered to Chase Park.
Forgot about those.
Yeah, so no, I can
Everything's
work on
covered, right?
those. I'll get with Kristen, kinda,
Yeah, they're gonna.
those are, now it's, because the gates will be locked at that point, and we'll make sure the gates are locked, so
Okay.
that they're not gonna probably walk away, that they can all just be placed,
Okay,
they
so,
can be placed basically right in place where they need to go.
Do we need a stake and chain those?
I don't believe so. She told me that they're very, very heavy. She said, she would be surprised if they could even drag them. It would take more than what it takes now. I think when we get them delivered, we'll have a sense of how heavy they are. But she seemed to indicate to me they were pretty heavy. So I can get, David, I can get you the contact name
Yep.
for her, so you can coordinate delivery
Yeah.
of that.
I mean,
Okay,
they don't need to be there till mid-May anyway.
yeah, I don't know what their delivery schedule is. They're fairly local. They're about an hour and a half away. So, I'll
Well,
get,
I'll just have to find out
Yeah.
are they bringing people to drop them off, or are they going to need us to help unload them and move them?
Right,
In which
yeah.
case, we need to coordinate it so that we maybe do it on the weekend before. That's the one thing we need to check with the landscaping crew, that's the new guys, that Chase Park has to be 100% cleaned up, done, ready to go the Thursday before.
when,
The Thursday before the weekend, the one weekend, the Thursday before Memorial Day.
so what I'll do is, I'll actually, when I talk to them about coming out for the walkthrough,
Yeah.
I will ask them if they want to, while they're here, go take a ride up to Chase Park when we're all done, even if it's just me or me and you,
Yeah.
to kind of make sure they understand what needs to get done. So when I reach out to them, I'll mention that to them. And I will,
I would do, the only other location is at the skate park. I would just make sure that,
okay. All right, so Dave, you're gonna take care of, you and Kristen will take care of most of the Chase Park
Yep.
stuff. The Porta Johns are done. I'll get the order placed. The dumpsters, Matt, you're
I'll work them.
doing that. Picnic tables, again, that was Dave. I will coordinate the slide getting delivered for Bolton. They were gonna install it. They were supposed to bring it down in the fall. I didn't push them because I didn't want to have to store it. So I will reach out to see if we can get those. And then the tennis courts, we need to do the walkthrough. The nets need to get installed, the signage, and the phone line set up. I'm happy to take that because I've done it enough years that the nets are up there already. And we can get the phone message set up once we decide when we're gonna open it. So that kind of takes care of the stuff that we need to get done. Anything else? We're not gonna talk about the strategic planning process. Anything else?
No, not for this year, not for this month.
All right, I just have one more thing, and that is, I will be stepping off the board at the end of April. So next month will be my last meeting. Between my responsibilities, some of you know I do a lot of disaster relief work. It's taken me out of town a lot. The amount of work has just become overwhelming, and I'm retired. I spent the entire day just doing Parks and Rec today. And I think in light of the fact that when I saw that we couldn't even get $2,000 for a director, we had a director position that got delayed in posting for 3 to 4 months. I just feel, and I'm frankly tired of sitting through or listening to Board of Selectmen meetings where we get the public standing up and talking down about Parks and Rec. I think all of us put a lot of time into Parks and Rec, and I know last year we did a lot. This committee did a lot to add activities. We added the senior barbecue, we've added the Christmas dinner, we added the decorations, we're trying to add, and it feels like an uphill battle. I'm coming up on my 5th year, and I just don't have the battle left in me. So I will get us through the interviews and get the tennis court set up, but April will be my last meeting. So it's been a pleasure, but I think I need to move on and do something different.
I get it. I get it, the burnout is
Yep.
real.
So if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:50.
All those, anybody
I'll
opposed?
second that.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all. Your seat to call. Yeah. Did you want to pick up anything on trash removal? Yeah, I can. Thank you.